Hi, I'm Gary, welcome to my channel. Today I'm building the new 1/48 scale resin kit of the extraordinary Martin Baker MB3 fighter from AEROCRAFT Models. For full disclosure, I was given this kit for free by AEROCRAFT, but on the basis that I give them my honest opinion of the product, and that's exactly what they and you are going to get. Now, if you enjoy the video, please let YouTube know by giving it the imperial thumbs up, by subscribing to the channel, and by hitting the notification bell. All of these are free and a great way to show your support. So let's make a start today with a quick look at the paints and products I used for the build. Here's the cockpit tub. It's a single piece print, so it's pretty cool. Everything, including the throttle lever here, everything is printed in one piece. So I sprayed it green, interior green, put in some black bits, did a bit of dry brushing, painted the rudder pedals in metal. So now what I'm going to do is put in the instrument panel and the seat and the control column. So first I'm putting the instrument panel in. Again, instrument panel is just sprayed back, dry brushed white, couple of little spots of colour just to liven it up a bit, and it sits into here. I'm using a clear white PVA. It's white PVA, but it clears, dries clear, and it dries matte as well, so you won't see that when it's finished. And then the seat goes in. Again, sprayed it black, just painted on some straps with just regular paint, and we're just going to make that sit down in there like so. There we go. Okay, this is the control column here. Now on the base here, there is a little tab here. There's no tab this side, there is a tab here. So when you're taking off this support, make sure you leave this tab on and take it off there. And you can just about see where the control column sits in here. There is a hole for that tab, so it shows you which way around the control column sits. Okay, so that's the cockpit tub assembled. Very few parts, and if you spend a little time doing a bit of dry brushing like that, you can really make it look cool. I'm really happy with this. Right, we're going to start putting some pieces into the aircraft. Now this is the bulkhead that goes at the back of the cockpit. Now there's a line cut here. So let's make it better. The line cut there, that line needs to line up with this part here, so the bulkhead sits inside the rear part of the fuselage. Kind of like that. Yeah, so it's flush basically. Yeah, that's cool. Let's just clean that excess off there. There we go. So yeah, like that. And then the cockpit tub sits in here. And push that down. And that sits like so, with the front part here against front there. There we are. This sits down, and that will sit into place like that. Now we're going to leave that overnight to set because we're using PVA. Okay, once that has set, we can pop the top cover of the cockpit area into place. Next we need to put the wings into place. These just slot into the side and we'll position them thus. I'm using a high viscosity glue which gives me sort of about 20-30 seconds working time, so I can make sure I'm happy with where they're sitting. I am going to sort of have to do a little bit of filling later, but not very much. A lot of these are just going to look like panel lines really. I've painted the aircraft all over in ocean grey. Then I've masked off the grey areas and used dark green for the contrast camouflage. On the leading edges, I've got this yellow strip that you see so often on World War II British fighters. It's normally outboard of the armament, so it's not all that big on this plane. The yellow is a continuation of the trainer yellow I've used on the underside because this is a prototype aircraft. Once all of this is set, I've given the kit a gloss coat and I can then put on the decals. Now for the undercarriage, and I'm going to put the wheel on. The wheel fits fairly, not terribly snugly. It fits. It goes on quite easily, which is a good thing. But so you don't have to fight it. So I'm just going to put some high viscosity super glue around the wheel. And then slip the wheel on and just set it where it belongs, which is about there. And then leave that to set. Next, there's a gear door that fits over the whole of the bottom part of this undercarriage. It goes at quite a strange angle, but it all works out in the end, I promise you. There we go. Quite a straight and severe angle, like so. Then there's another part of the undercarriage cover that goes on here. There's a little clip you can see here, and that goes onto that top part of the oleo scissors and then rests against the lower undercarriage door like that. The idea is when they close up, everything stretches out and all clicks together properly. Then the main wheel leg slots into a position on here in the base of the wing, like so. And then there's a little notch for the support leg to go into there. Then the inner door goes in here. And there's going to be a little strap we're going to put in here to hold it open. As you can see, there's a hole for the tail wheel. It just sits straight in like this. And the exhaust stacks can go in the side of the engine compartment like so. The canopy parts I've masked and painted already whilst they're still on their blocks. Now they need to be cut out from the blocks with a razor saw. I'm just going to give it a little bit of extra material here just so I can sand it down. It's a lot easier to sand it down than trying to build it up afterwards. Remember that resin like this files away very quickly, so be very, very gentle, and above all else, always dry fit. Check the dry fit first before continuing. You think you're close to it like this, then that's got a tiny bit more to go, but really not very much. Don't overdo it because you can't really bring it back, so gently sand these down, and then when they're on, glue them in and take off the masks. And don't forget the very, very small but very lovely printed gun sight. That can go in with a bit of PVA glue that will dry perfectly clear. And it sits just like this. And pretty much the last thing we need to do is put on the propeller. There it is, a remarkable aircraft, and I have to say a remarkable kit. Through clever use of 3D design and 3D printing technology, AEROCRAFT has managed to create a kit of something unusual that's actually a joy to build, and quite unlike the cast resin kit experience I remember from the past. There's very little sanding required, the pieces go together very well with only an occasional adjustment needed, and the result, I think, looks amazing. As with any resin kit, repeated dry fitting of the parts pays absolute dividends. I think if you're familiar with conventional plastic models and fancy a go at resin, this would present no problems to you at all. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, then remember to let YouTube know with an imperial thumbs up, by subscribing and by hitting the notification bell. Thanks so very much for watching today, and goodbye.